We just got a brand new interview with Scream 7 writer Guy Busick where he shared a lot of very interesting information. So let's get into it.
Certain rules. Push the laws and you end up dead.
This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life.
Not in my movie.
Surprise, Sidney.
He's gone mad.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
A very simple formula.
You want to play psycho killer?
Everybody's a suspect.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I think it's gonna go something like this.
I'm Pamela, welcome back to the channel. So just last night I saw this brand new interview from Guy Busick on comicbook.com. So we're going to get into the article, a lot of interesting info, and I will also link the article down below in case you want to read the whole thing. So the article reads, the original Scream 7 with Barrera and Ortega was a completely different thing, according to Guy Busick. We weren't able to use what we had in the previous iteration for this one. We just had to start from scratch, which was a bummer. We were excited about what we had for that movie. We wanted to do one more Core 4 movie. We know the fans love those characters. We love those characters. We created those characters. I would love to see in some universe the continuation of their characters in some way, but we weren't able to port over the stuff from the other story. It was like, okay, here is what the universe dealt us. We always wanted to do a Sidney movie, and so it was like, alright, let's get into it, and why now, and why this one? So why bring back Sidney now, and why in Scream 7? After all, GALE told Sam and Tara in 6 she deserves her happy ending. And Guy Busick said, I don't want to give anything away about the reason Scream 7 had to be a Sidney movie, because there's a really cool reason. In all these movies you have to ask, why now? What is the thing Scream is commenting on now? Scream is always in a conversation with the audience about the state of movies, the state of horror movies, and in particular, franchises. So there are a lot of interesting things in that paragraph alone, which we're going to break down later on in this video. I'm going to continue with the rest of the article, and then we're going to go back and analyze some of his statements. So the article goes on to say, Busick seems to suggest that the meta horror franchise's 7th entry is a commentary on the trend of the legacy sequel. 2018's Halloween, 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2023's The Exorcist Believer, and 2025's I Know What You Did Last Summer. Decades later sequels and quasi-reboots that brought back original characters and actors. 2022 Scream got in on the legacy sequel by reuniting the trio of Sidney, Gale, and Dewey for the first time since 2011. Guy Busick continues to say there is a really specific reason why Sidney is in this movie. I will say there is a reason, and we were happy with it when we cracked it. We went to Neve Campbell and said, this is why. This is why Sidney now. And Neve was like, oh, I get that. I pitched Kevin Williamson this first too. He got it, and then I pitched the studio. I came up with the story with my co-writer on Scream 5 and 6, James Vanderbilt. Okay, so there is more to the article, which we will also get into, but let's break down what he said already. So going back, he said, I don't want to give anything away about the reason Scream 7 had to be a Sidney movie, because there's a really cool reason. Now you guys know I gotta bring up Stu Macher. If you've been on my channel for a while, which I know many of you have, you know I'm a Stu believer. We know that Matthew Lillard is returning in this movie. We of course don't know exactly in what capacity. Is it a flashback? Is it an AI version of him? Is he alive? I 100% believe he's alive, and I think this is where it's headed, and Guy Busick is a self-proclaimed Stu believer. He has been very vocal about this since Scream 5's release when he worked on that movie. He has done several interviews in the past, over the past few years, where he says he is constantly in that writer's room trying to figure out how Stu can come back alive. And now is the time. I mean, we know that Matthew Lillard's returning, so it's so obvious to me that this is where it's headed. And he says, you know, I can't give anything away, but there's a really cool reason why Sidney is back. And then he went on to say there is a really specific reason why Sidney is in this movie. I will say there's a reason, and we were happy with it when we cracked it. This is why Sidney now. So again, it's just very obvious to me that this has been Guy Busick's vision for the past few years, and now is the perfect time. The pieces all came together perfectly. With the exit of Jenna and Melissa, it's the perfect opportunity to bring back Sidney and Stu for one final showdown. And he even says that he told Neve Campbell the plan and she was like, oh, I get that. And Busick even said, why now? What is the thing Scream is commenting on now? Scream is always in a conversation with the audience about the state of movies, the state of horror movies in particular, and franchises. And the article goes on to bring legacy sequels like 2018's Halloween. So all these popular horror franchises are sort of rebooting themselves, coming back, bringing back original characters. And Stu is an original character. He is one of the original killers, and I just think that's the perfect way to comment on the state of movies these days. Matthew Lillard, who has also been vocal about his return to the franchise one day, he's been saying for literally decades he thinks Stu's alive, and that's what these horror franchises do. Bring the killer back.
Whenever he comes back somewhere in the future, because that's what happens in horror movies all the time, they bring the killers back.
And Scream is not only a commentary on like sequels, trilogies, requels, and stuff like that, but also just things that are relevant to real life. Like Scream 4, for example, is kind of like social media fame. Scream 5 was toxic fandom. And right now with Scream 7, one of the most popular theories out there is the whole AI theory. So when it comes to all of the returning characters who are presumed dead, like Stu Macher, Roman Bridger, Dewey Riley, so many people think that the only way that we're going to see them again is with an AI type of thing. The killer is going to use AI video of Stu and Roman to kind of torment Sidney. And this is definitely a possibility for Scream 7. We know that AI is currently taking over the world. But the people out there who don't believe Stu's alive, they're on the internet saying like, oh, you guys are silly, like Stu's only going to be AI, he's not going to be alive. But my thoughts when it comes to the AI theory is the problem with AI in real life is that it's trying to replace the real thing, specifically with writers. So when it comes to the writer's strike that happened a couple years ago, which Kevin Williamson was there protesting at these events, part of the writer's strike was about AI taking writers' jobs. But when it comes to that, nothing can replace the real thing. AI writing a movie or whatever is never going to be as good as an actual human writing the movie. Nothing can replace the human experience. So when it comes to the AI theory for Scream 7, sure, Stu might show up as an AI version in the first half of the movie, but guess what? Nothing can replace the real thing. So the real life Stu is going to show up at the end. So those are my thoughts on the AI theory. So when it comes to Guy Busick in this interview saying Sidney's back for a specific reason, when we cracked it, we were really happy with it. So I could just see this whole thing playing out. I think it's pretty clever, honestly, for Scream 7 to comment on the whole AI issue that's going on in real life and having Stu actually being alive tie into it in a clever way. So this article got me so excited because if you know, you know. Guy Busick is a big Stu believer, and by him kind of teasing this in the article, I think most people reading the article don't know that about him. The casual Scream fan, who I do think makes up most of the fandom, they're not, analyzing all of these interviews like we do here. They don't know that Guy Busick has been vocal for years about wanting to bring Stu back. But people like us who read this article know what he's talking about. So when I saw this article floating around Twitter last night, and people were commenting on what Busick said about, why Sidney? Why bring her back now? All of the comments were like, yeah, we know why, because you guys lost Melissa and Jenna. But I'm just over here thinking like, no, the reason is because it's time to bring back Stu, and it only makes sense with Sidney. So then the article goes on to give us a little bit more interesting info. So Busick credits Vanderbilt with the idea of bringing back the Meeks Martin twins. He says, I believe it was James that came up with it. I want to give credit where credit is due, but it was an organic way why they would be in this movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say it's through GALE. She's the connective tissue in 5 and 6, and she's in this. New York was obviously a big part of that. She bonded with those 4, and there's a reason why these 2 come to this town where the action is happening. So that is very interesting. We've been wondering, speculating here on the channel, what connection do the twins have to this story? What brings them to where Gale and Sidney are going to be? I think we were just talking about this in one of my live streams the other day, and he admits that it's through Gale. And there had been rumors like several months ago that possibly Chad is Gale's cameraman, or maybe Mindy is working on Gale's brand new show. So that is interesting. He doesn't reveal exactly how it's through Gale, but I am very intrigued to see that connection. And then in the article, they go on to talk about the setting for Scream 7 and where it takes place. And it's interesting because they don't reveal the name of the town. And Guy Busick is like, I don't want to spoil where it is. But here on the channel, we all know where it's located. I mean, there were set images with all of the town signs. We know it takes place in Pine Grove, Indiana. That is not breaking news. It's been known since production started in March. So I don't know why they chose to not talk about it. I guess because they haven't officially announced it. But like I said, all of us here on the internet know this. So it's not really a spoiler. But the article does go on to say whether that town is Woodsboro, California, or the as yet unnamed town where Sidney is hiding, Busick couldn't say. He says, it's not New York. I don't want to be the one to spoil where it is. It's an unspecified amount of time after 6. I might get contradicted by other people, but in my mind, more than 2 years. I would say at least 2 years. It could be 2 years, but I would say 2 years plus. So that is another interesting little bit of information. We all suspected there would be a time jump, and Busick has confirmed this in this interview, although I don't know if we're going to know exactly how long it is. The way he says it's an unspecified amount of time and he might get contradicted by other people, I think they're not going to make it clear in the movie. We're just going to have to assume how many years it is. Clearly there's not a line in the script, there's no dialogue that will specify, oh, it's been 3 years since New York. I think we're gonna keep it kind of vague. But he says he thinks over 2 years. So I'm going with 3 years because initially those rumors that broke months and months ago said about a 3-year time jump. So I'm assuming 3 years, which actually does make sense because this movie is supposed to be taking place on the 30-year anniversary of the original Woodsboro murders, which would be 2026, which is the release date of the movie. And Scream 3 took place in 2023. So yeah, I think it's safe to assume 3-year time jump for Scream 7 takes place in 2026. But that is it. That is all of the very interesting information that we got in this brand new article from comicbook.com with Guy Busick, writer of Scream 7. So just a little recap, he says there is a very specific reason Sidney is back for this movie, which I think is Stu Macher. We know that the twins are returning because of Gale. There's some connection there with Gale, and we have a confirmed time jump for Scream 7. So let me know your thoughts, leave a comment down below. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Definitely turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on future Scream 7 updates like this one and Scream 7 theories. Definitely as we get closer to the movie release, I will definitely be posting like theories, predictions, and stuff like that, so you won't want to miss out. Please also go follow me over on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and I will be right back.